Requiring constant conscious effort reduces burden. Establishing systems like always checking refrigerator temperature when putting away groceries makes safety automatic. But acknowledge that this requires effort and occasional mistakes will happen. The goal isn't perfection, it's risk reduction to acceptable levels. None of this guarantees absolute safety. You can do everything right and still encounter contaminated food that causes illness. But these practices dramatically reduce risk and catch many problems before they cause harm. The multi-barrier approach means that even when one barrier fails, others provide backup protection. Your home is the final control point before food enters your body. Commercial systems failed to prevent contamination. Retail systems failed to detect it. Only your home practices stand between that contaminated food and your family's health. Taking this responsibility seriously isn't paranoid. It's appropriate given demonstrated system failures at earlier stages. Article 20. Activist consumers and market power. Individual shopping choices feel powerless against massive food corporations and inadequate regulations. One person buying organic or avoiding problematic brands seems meaningless when millions continue buying whatever's cheapest or most convenient. But organized consumer action historically has forced industry changes when regulation failed, and understanding how to leverage collective market power matters if you care about food safety beyond your own household. Successful consumer movements demonstrate the potential. Boycotts that targeted specific brands over safety failures have changed practices when companies faced real financial consequences. Social media campaigns exposing contamination that companies wanted hidden have forced transparency and improvements. Collective litigation creating significant financial penalties has motivated safety investments that regulations alone didn't achieve. These successes required organization, persistence, and strategic targeting, but they worked. Identifying brands with repeated safety failures is the first step. Some companies have patterns of violations, recalls, and contamination outbreaks. These patterns indicate systemic problems, not isolated incidents. Compiling this information and sharing it widely helps consumers make informed choices and creates accountability pressure. Food safety databases, recall tracking, and investigative journalism expose these patterns, but most consumers never see this information unless activists surface it prominently. Coordinated purchasing shifts reward transparent producers and punish bad actors. If enough consumers move purchases away from companies with poor safety records toward companies with strong records, market share shifts create financial incentives for improvement. This requires coordination. Scattered individual choices don't send clear market signals, but organized campaigns can. Using social media to amplify contamination concerns, manufacturers want hidden forces responses that quiet individual complaints don't trigger. Tools available for consumer activism have expanded significantly. Apps tracking recalls and safety records put information at consumers' fingertips. Consumer advocacy organizations provide coordinated action platforms where individuals can join collective efforts. Legislative advocacy opportunities let citizens push for stronger regulations when corporate-friendly legislators won't act independently. These tools make activism more accessible than previous generations experienced. Effective activism requires strategic focus. Identifying achievable changes rather than demanding impossible perfection maintains momentum. Building coalitions across consumer groups creates broader pressure. Food safety concerns unite people across political and demographic divisions. Maintaining pressure despite industry PR campaigns is essential. Companies will try to deflect and delay, and sustained pressure prevents this. Learning from past successful campaigns provides templates for effective action. Balancing individual action with collective action addresses the immediate versus systemic problem. Individual action means choosing safer products now for your family's immediate protection. This is necessary and valuable, but doesn't fix systemic problems. Collective action aims to change the system so everyone has better options, including people who can't afford premium products or don't have information access. Both matter. You can protect your household while also working towards systemic improvements. The privilege aspects of food safety activism require acknowledgement. Safer options often cost more, creating barriers for low-income consumers. Activism that demands everyone buy expensive organic products ignores economic reality for many families. Effective activism pushes for regulations that protect everyone, not just those who can pay premium prices. This means fighting for strong safety standards that apply to all products, better enforcement regardless of price point, and transparency requirements that help all consumers make informed choices. Industry resistance to transparency and accountability is inevitable and should be expected. Companies profit from current arrangements where they're not accountable for safety failures and where consumers lack information to make informed choices. Any meaningful reform threatens these profits, so industry will fight. Understanding this resistance as rational profit-seeking rather than being surprised by it helps activists maintain resolve. The fundamental question is whether consumers collectively have power to improve food safety beyond what regulations currently provide. The answer is yes, but only when that power is organized and strategically deployed. Scattered individual choices are easily ignored. Coordinated campaigns that threaten market share and create reputational damage get attention. Litigation that creates financial consequences motivates changes that regulations alone don't achieve. Social media that exposes problems companies want hidden forces responses. Your choice is whether to participate in this collective action or focus solely on individual protection. Both are valid. Protecting your own family matters enormously and is the immediate priority. But if enough people engage in collective action alongside individual protection, systemic improvements become possible. The food safety system we have reflects the balance of power between industry interests and consumer advocacy. Shifting that balance requires organized consumer power. The question is whether you're willing to add your voice and purchasing power to collective efforts, or whether individual protection is where your engagement ends. There's no wrong answer, but understanding the choice matters because systemic change requires collective action that individual choices alone can't achieve.